I'd been in the gym for almost 2 years and I was still embarrassed to take my shirt off. I didn't have any abs, I didn't have any muscle, and I still had that soft, skinny fat look that I've always hated. And then one day my mate even said to me that you don't even look like you lift considering how long that you've been training for. And that really hit me hard. That like fired up something in me, because that night I went home and I locked in. I researched everything I could and I spent hours researching, questioning everything that I'd been doing. And what I found completely changed the way I ate, the way I trained, and the way I thought about building muscle and actually escaping the skinny fat trap. And after years of staying in a physique that I just really hated and was embarrassed about, I finally made more progress in a few months than I'd ever made in the past 2 years. And if you're stuck like I was, then this is a video that I wish I had back then. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what kept me stuck in the skinny fat trap for almost 3 years and the mistakes I made without even realizing it. You're going to learn why recomping is one of the slowest and most frustrating ways to fix skinny fat, why cardio can actually make your physique look worse, and more importantly, what to do instead if you want to finally build muscle, get lean, and actually look like you lift, so your mate can't actually tell you that you look awful. Plus, right off the bat, if you want to know what direction to go in and start fixing skinny fat, then grab my free skinny fat flowchart in the description below. I'm not just sharing what worked, I'm giving you the plan I wish I had on day one, so you don't waste years like I did. Let me tell you about the truth of why I wasted 3 years getting nowhere. Or to put it more bluntly, if you're not getting stronger or leaner, this is probably exactly what you're doing wrong too. Imagine you're trying to drive to a new city and every time the traffic gets heavier or the road looks unfamiliar, you stop, open Google Maps, and then change the route completely. That was me with training and dieting. I would change program every few weeks, I'd have a little bit of motivation, and then when it got a little bit hard or boring and I didn't see instant results, I just quit and started a new one. Then I'd bulk, but bulk way too fast. I'd gain weight and convince myself that I was gaining muscle, even though I could literally see I was getting fatter and my physique was looking way worse. And then I'd try to cut, throw in cardio like a madman, under-eat protein, and wonder why I looked worse after the cut because I didn't preserve any of my muscle. I was constantly chasing the perfect routine, thinking that the right program or the right diet was the missing piece, but that is the wrong mentality to have, and a lot of people fall into that. The real problem was that I didn't understand or stick to the fundamentals. I wasn't training close enough to failure to actually build muscle, I didn't track my progress properly, and I never gave anything enough time for it to actually work. I thought my body was broken, but I simply just wasn't doing the basics enough. What finally changed everything was when I stopped chasing the perfect plan and I started focusing on the unshakable principles. And these are: train hard, close to failure, consistently. Eat enough to grow but not get fat. Stick to the plan long enough to actually see progress. And that's when I started to make real visible changes and started to actually like what I saw in the mirror. And it didn't happen overnight, but every month I was leaner, stronger, and actually looked like I lifted. And if you want an easier layout, then again, grab my free skinny fat flowchart in the description below. But even when I got everything right, there was still one thing that kept slowing me down. And honestly, it's what keeps most skinny fat guys stuck for years. So let me ask you something. Have you ever thought, I just need to do more cardio and I'll finally get lean? Well, that was me too. And I used to think that sweating more meant I was burning more fat. So I'd hammer the treadmill, I'd burn 400 calories, and then wonder why I still look the same. And I'm still stuck in the same physique that I hated. Doing endless cardio to fix skinny fat is like mopping the floor while the tap is still running. It feels productive, but the real problem is still pouring out underneath. I was doing cardio to get leaner, thinking that it would fix the way I looked, but I had nothing to reveal underneath. So the leaner I got, the skinnier I'd look, and the more I would be embarrassed about what I looked like. Cardio burns more calories, but it doesn't build shape, and most guys use cardio to chase fat loss, but when they have no muscle to reveal anyway. So skinny fat isn't a fat problem, it's actually a muscle problem. When I stopped relying on cardio and started focusing on lifting hard, eating right, and building enough muscle, that's when my body actually changed. I didn't need to get smaller, I needed to get stronger and actually build muscle. But even after I learnt my lesson, I cut back on cardio and actually started lifting properly, I still made one mistake that kept holding me back. And it's a trap a lot of skinny fat guys fall into, especially the ones who think they've found the perfect strategy. Here's a brutal truth that it took me ages to learn, and that's that just because something works in theory, it doesn't mean it's the best path in reality. When I first heard about body recomposition, the idea of building muscle and losing fat at the exact same time, I thought I'd found the cheat code. No bulking, no cutting, no extremes, you can just lift at maintenance and get this shredded jack physique that you're after. But there's a massive problem with this. Recomping is like trying to fill a swimming pool by dripping water from a tap once a day. Technically, yes, the pull's going to feel over time, but it takes so long and the progress is so subtle that you're constantly looking in the mirror and wondering if anything's actually even happening. And most people give up before the results even show, and that was me. I'd eat clean, I would stay at my maintenance, and then after a few months I'd look in the mirror and feel like nothing had changed. It felt like I was doing everything right, but I was stuck in no man's land. I wasn't lean, I wasn't muscular, and I was still skinny fat. And the worst part is that I felt really guilty because I felt like I was failing. I felt like I was doing enough to finally stay on track, but when I looked in the mirror, I just didn't feel like I was making any progress at all. And that's because recomping requires extreme precision. It requires the perfect diet, the perfect training, and a lot of patience to stay on the plan consistently. Progress is way too slow to stay motivated. You don't see changes in the mirror for weeks, and sometimes even months, or even up to years. And the mental drag that makes you second guess everything is what makes you quit, and that's exactly what happened to me. But what finally worked was switching from slow, invisible progress to actually a focused lean bulk. Building real muscle, then clearing it up with a short mini cut to stay lean, and then going back into a lean bulk to optimize as much muscle growth as possible. That's what gave me the shape, that's what gave me size, and that's what gave me the confidence that I'd actually been chasing for years. And if you want to know whether you should lean bulk or mini cut to start fixing skinny fat, then grab my free skinny fat flowchart in the description below. But here's the kicker. Everything I've just told you might still leave you stuck. If you think fixing skinny fat is about avoiding mistakes, it's actually like fixing a leaky boat by plugging in holes and then still not knowing how to steer. You stop sinking, but you're still not moving forward. You're probably still asking, how do I fix skinny fat and not waste 3 years like you did? What does the science say about how to do it properly? And what's the exact plan I should follow right now? Most guys guess, and they guess wrong, and I know that because I've been there myself. But after watching this next video, you will have a plan that works and a clear path to finally get into that physique that you desire.